Welcome to MMA Dogs. My name is Hector, and I want to thank all our clients for tuning in here and everyone else who tunes in afterwards too. So let's go ahead and jump into UFC 173. We have a card that, in my opinion, is flying under the radar. It is really stacked. I'm really excited for it. And let's dive right into it. First, never bet more than you can afford to lose. So you got to bet responsibly. Second, you always want to make sure that you check your local laws, local government. And then last but not least, a lot of respect to all the fighters who step into the octagon, whether it's man or woman, short notice. It doesn't matter. You know, these guys go in there and they try. So with that out of the way, let's dive right into it. So the first fight features two newcomers. So Lee versus Mashad. Now, there won't be a bet on this fight. Do not bet. But Lee does have a big advantage. He knew he was going to fight. He got prepared for this fight. He traveled from Asia, from China, to Vegas. Has been there for a month. And with Mashad, we've got a guy who's taking a fight on short notice. So he wasn't even supposed to be there. He wasn't even on the somebody who the UFC was seeking to put on this card. He's just a replacement. And with Lee, at least he has one part of his game that stands out, and that's his submission game. But with Mashad, it's just like, wow, man, just watching him fight. It's a great opportunity for him, and he could show up and fight. But from the homework I did on it, I like Lee. So Lee for the pick on that fight, and then for the next fight, so Phillips versus Sam Cecilia. With Cecilia, we have a guy who could potentially use his wrestling to control the fight for 3 rounds, but he's not in the UFC because of his wrestling. He's in the UFC because he goes out there and wants to just throw haymakers, either get knocked out or get submitted or knock the other opponent out. So he is very good. But with Phillips, we see a guy who's also taking the fight on short notice, who's undefeated. He's only 24. He hasn't fought good opposition. But when Cecilia goes in there and throws those haymakers and throws those punches, it's going to leave an opportunity for Phillips to counter. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think Phillips will catch him in a counter and pull off the slight upset. I think Phillips is like plus 130 or something like plus 140. But also a do not bet. I don't advise betting on this fight because, like I said, if we knew Cecilia was going to go in there and fight with a game plan, then okay, But with him going out there and putting on the spectacle or the show, it's not really worth betting on. So it's a total pass on that fight. And for the next one, we got Anthony Njokuani versus Vince Pichel. Now, with Njokuani, we know what we're going to get. We're going to get a guy who's very good on the feet. He has decent takedown defense. That fight he had with Danny Castillo, he arguably won, and Danny Castillo is a good wrestler. With Vince Pichel, what are we really going to get? His victory over Garrett Whiteley does not impress me one bit. And then, of course, against Khabibulov, getting tossed around like that, being hurt like that was just a horrible fight for him. And in this fight, Pichel's not going to have the wrestling to take him down. He might grab him and try to hold on to him, but he's not going to have the wrestling to hold him down. And Njokuani is just going to sprawl, use his distance, his length, his timing to pick him apart on the feet. So I see Njokuani winning this one by decision, and we are going to be betting that fight. And I'll go into the fights as soon as I break down what I see with these with the remaining 10 fights. So Mitch Clark versus Ally Quinta. Now this fight is very interesting. In the beginning, I was thinking Quinta all day. Woo, yeah, baby. Shoo, I'm so excited to bet Quinta. And after watching Quinta's, getting a refresher on his fights, watching his fights, it wasn't so much what I what I saw, what I didn't see in Quinta, but rather what I saw in Clark. And I think we may be overlooking Clark in this fight. He's been training at the lab, which he showed huge improvements in his last 2 fights. If you take a look at his most previous fight with Maguire, and then his fights before that, drastic improvements. I mean, this looks like a totally different fighter, first of all, and just a very dominant victory in that fight against Maguire. Now, obviously, Quinta is better than Maguire, but that doesn't. I can't ignore the fact that Mitch Clark looked so much more improved and so much better. His cardio, his striking, everything looked much improved. And with him training at the lab, it is very possible that he could have improved even more. And with Quinta, he could be overlooking him. He could have an injury. I mean, there's so many factors that go into these fights that I don't feel comfortable betting Quinta at this point, especially at the price tag he's at right now. You know, that's a big price tag. So with all that being said, I am going to go with Quinta. I am going to go with him because, like I said, he's just a very good fighter on the come up. I like him. I like his skills a lot, but at that price tag, it's just too high, and I don't want to be getting upset here by Clark. So Quinta for the win by decision, and it's a do not bet. And we got Chico Camus versus Chris Holdsworth. Now this is a flip of the previous fight. In the beginning, I thought to myself, wow, Holdsworth, that's a big price tag on him. But then as I started watching the fight footage, watching their fights, it is deserved. And especially with Camus getting kicked out of Rufus Sport, you know, that is bad news for this guy. Horrible news for this guy. If we thought he had bad submissions and defense and bad IQ with Rufus, it's going to only get worse with whatever camp he's at now. And against Holdsworth, that is a bad idea. I mean, Holdsworth Jiu-Jitsu is very, very good. He trains with Team Alpha Male, so he's constantly training against, you know, Dillashaw, Faber, Mendez, Benavidez, all those beasts over there, working his striking with Ludwig. So very good coaching, a very good fighter, and I really like Holdsworth a lot here with Chico. You know, he has the wrestling, but man, he is just his intelligence, his read on the fight is just so bad. He's a horrible listener. I don't like this guy one bit. So I love Holdsworth here. I think Holdsworth will finish. I think he'll get the submission, and we'll get into the bet on that fight. So Holdsworth by submission. Tony Ferguson versus Kikuno. Now, this fight I love. I predict Tony Ferguson will get the submission. With Kikuno, you know, he comes with the karate stance, and it's very interesting to watch. But it's nothing like Lyoto Machida. You know, Machida's karate style is totally different. And with Tony Ferguson, you know, Kikuno standing there like he's got cement blocks in his feet, just so heavy. See, with his position like that, Tony Ferguson's going to shoot in, get the takedown, get the submission. So I love Tony Ferguson here to win by submission. Now this next fight, in the beginning, I was looking at Michael Chiesa, and I was thinking to myself, wow, you know, this might be a great opportunity to bet Chiesa and feel comfortable about betting him. But upon watching all the tape footage, man, this guy Kessa always gets put in bad positions, especially in the first round, and that's where Trinaldo is best. In the first round, he will go to the body, he will attack, and you know, Trinaldo did something that was very, very eye-opening and almost a miracle in MMA, and that is he showed his cardio in his last fight, where he hadn't showed cardio at all ever, and he showed cardio in his last fight against Runson. Runson, a very game opponent, because they kept it on the feet. You know, that's all they did. They kept it on the feet. So in that respect, it was very, very good. A very good fight for Trinaldo. And with Hallman, we saw what he did to him in the first round, and hurt him bad in the body. And so I like Trinaldo in this fight, inside the distance, whether it's knockout or submission in the first round. And he looks prepared, man. This guy does not look like he took this fight lightly at all. At first, I was concerned because of his age, his first time fighting out of Brazil, but this guy looks ready to go. And with Chiesa, he's got a lot of heart. I love the guy, but he probably will get hurt in the first round, and being hurt by Trinaldo is not a good idea. So I'm predicting Trinaldo here. And moving right along to the main event. James Krause versus Jamie Varner. Varner, very, very interesting breaking down this guy. When he takes fights seriously, like he did against Barboza, like he did against Guillard, he does what he needs. He does what he's supposed to do. And then when he tries to put on a show, tries to do this, tries to do that, he's very exciting to watch, but he loses. So with 2 losses in a row, I expect Varner to go in there and wrestle, be smart, win, just do, like he was saying, score points. He's going to come in here prepared and win this fight. He might even get the finish, but I'm predicting a decision. With Krause, a student of the game, but he's long, lanky, and man, his best win over Sam Stout, that fight was horrible. He was losing that fight, arguably losing that fight until he wrapped up that submission. So I see Varner steamrolling through him, getting a decision, possibly a finish. Varner, we will bet. We'll go over that. Mizugaki versus Rivera. Man, Mizugaki leaves himself open on the feet. That's the problem. If he wants to wrestle, then he has a very good chance. But Mizugaki doesn't implement his game plan. He doesn't implement his game plan in fights. He lets the fight go where it may. And with Rivera, that is a bad recipe. So I love Rivera here to win by knockout. Jake Ellenberger versus Robbie Lawler. Very interesting matchup here. It's just Ellenberger's chin, Ellenberger's chin. And with Lawler coming off that huge loss to Hendricks, arguably he won that fight. And most guys, when they reach that peak of that mountain and they don't get what they've worked hard for, it's a downfall. I don't think that's going to be the case with Robbie. I know he was in the gym that Monday, and I don't think he's ready to give up yet. But with that being said, it is a big price tag against a guy, Jake Ellenberger. We need to expect the best Jake Ellenberger that we have ever seen. Unfortunately, he's not fighting Dustin Hazlett here. He's fighting Robbie Lawler. So I'm going to pick Lawler by decision, but it's a do not bet. Daniel Cormier versus Dan Henderson. Do not bet. How disrespectful can it be to a legend of the sport by opening him up as plus 600? I mean, this guy's sitting at around plus 600 right now. Daniel Cormier, yes, he's got this, he's talented, he's got wrestling, he's got the accolades, he's got the speed, he trains with King, all these things, right? Oh, everything. He's got everything, all the reasons to. But still, even then, even after factoring that in, unbelievable. He's only fought at 205 once, and he beat a guy who works at Starbucks who took the fight on a couple weeks' notice. I mean, this is incredible. This is crazy. With Dan Henderson, we get a guy who is proven. Yes, if you watch his last fight against Shogun, he was basically put out, knocked out. He was knocked out, got brought back to life, and then it goes in there, does a crafty move. I mean, one of the best, craftiest moves. And breaks Shogun, knocks him out. I mean, unbelievable. I am not going to bet against this guy, especially at the odds that they are at right now. I mean, let's see, it's ridiculous. Minus 900 for Daniel Cormier. Are you kidding me? No way. Yes, he may win, but oh man, that is just a fight where you have to, in my opinion, respect a legend of the sport like Dan Henderson. I am going to go out there since I'm not betting this fight. I refuse to lay over 9-1 on a guy who his best fight is against Cummings. No way. I'm not going to do it. If Daniel Cormier is as good as we think, let him prove it. Let's see Daniel Cormier finish Dan Henderson in the first round, and then I will say, okay. But if Daniel Cormier is put in any type of danger, then my goodness, that you're playing with fire on that, and I am not going to play with fire on this card at all. So since I'm not going to be betting him, and I'm not going to be because of the reasons I mentioned, I'm going to predict Dan Henderson goes in there for the upset. Now, I'm not saying go bet it. that's up to you. You know, and that's your own decision if you want to bet Dan Henderson. I'm not advocating betting Dan Henderson, but I'm definitely not betting Daniel Cormier. So Dan Henderson for the upset at plus 600 or more, depending on where you want to get him, and by knockout. So moving right along to the main event. Do not bet. Yes, Barao will probably win the fight, but at these ridiculous odds, no way. Last thing we need, the whole year has been nothing but upsets. The whole year, nothing but upsets. And even if you throw him in a two-leg parlay, or if you want to bet him straight, you're still going to lay 8-1, 7-1. So forget that. With TJ Dillashaw, we got a guy. Man, this guy is in shape. The most in shape I've ever seen him. Very talented. I've been betting him all the way up to this point, and you know, I really like him a lot here. I really like I've really liked him up until this point. I think it's a little bit early. That's the problem. I think it's a little bit early. A fight with I believe he's supposed to fight Mizugaki would have been a good fight for him. But oh man, Barao already. I wish he just had a couple more fights in him before he took on Barao. And Barao's just a killer, man. This guy is just a killer. So Barao by, oh man, some type of finish, possibly a decision. But probably will finish the poor kid, TJ. TJ's been knocked out before. So either a knockout or submission by Barao, and that will put a wrap to it. So let's go over the bets. So let's go ahead and get these babies pulled up here. There we go. So there's going to be 4 3-star picks. Varner, Holdsworth, Ferguson, and Njokuani. So those are the 4 3-star picks. And then moving right down to my bets, I'm going to go ahead and take Holdsworth at minus 325 and Varner at minus 170. That gives us plus 108. 3 units to win 3.24 units. Njokuani at minus 230 and Ferguson at minus 280. That gives us minus 106. 3 units to win 2.83. Then we're going to do a couple of round robins, 2 legs. Okay, so it's going to be 4 picks, so essentially 6 2-leg parlays. The total bet on the following round robin is 0.48 units. So total bet is 0.48 units to win potentially 9.08 units. So Ferguson by submission, that is plus 421. Unbelievable odds on that. Trinaldo by knockout TKO, plus 415. Awesome. Rivera by knockout TKO, plus 370. Unbelievable. And Njokuani by decision, plus 190. So those are some crazy odds. Usually I'm not really into the props or the odds or this or that. I'm more interested in just picking a fighter who's going to win. But the way things have been going lately with all these fight cards and the upsets and this and that, I mean, these odds are just too unbelievable. Plus, it's only not even a unit. It's half of a unit that we're risking here, 0.48, to win potentially 9.08. That is unbelievable. And I truly believe, especially the Ferguson by submission, I definitely believe he's going to get that. So then all we need is to get one more there, and we'll get one more there. And then moving right along, another round robin here. Another one, 0.48 units, so not even 1 unit, to win 9.48. So Ferguson by submission at plus 421. Put him in there again. Trinaldo by submission this time, plus 605. Like I said, you guys, Kessa gets in a world of trouble in the first, and it's not guaranteed. It's not a locker by any sorts, but these odds are crazy. Rivera by knockout TKO, plus 370. And Holdsworth inside the distance at minus 130. So that, I love that. I love it. 0.48 units to potentially win 9.48 units. So that is just craziness there. All for under a unit total. I mean, that's great. And so the total bet is going to be 7.04 units to win potentially 18.04 to 19.33 units. So Very excited for this card. I cannot wait. I mean, this is just going to be unbelievable. For more information, go to our website, MMA DAWGS, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Talk to you guys later. See ya.